Efforts like this are just nickel and dime salvage. It's just the work on the off chance that somebody is in need of psychological reinforcement when it comes to understanding what has been happening. And sometimes I watch them and helps me get through the hard times a little bit. But I can only wish that the few people who watch me were better than they are. When it comes to being supportive, they haven't figured out a way to take away my right to talk to myself, make myself available to the public and talking to myself. And they haven't found a way to, you know, haven't found an honor code to allow themselves to stop lying. But one of the things I heard, I lived in a Jewish Holocaust survivor community. One of the things I heard a lot was that children had to be taught, they had to be reminded, and I disagreed. I mean, my father was chair of philosophy of education at the University of Pittsburgh, so they had special treatment for me. I got the best and the brightest to reenact what it was like to be put in the torture chamber. I was left injured for life and so on. It's gone on and on, but I disagree with them. And Billy Rudd's brother had a poster, America, love it or eat it. Now, I don't know what they had in mind feeding people that didn't love America, but I know they poisoned me in the mouth. When I was a little boy, they showed me this picture. I have it because I wanted to show the police if this ever goes to court, but I won't take it out and show it. I'm like these special educators. I understand when something is unfit for children or sensitive young people. Even a sensitive adult would not want to see it. Of course, the jumping hole, or the so-called Pravda that Seattle media thinks they are, saying, "Oh, you're withholding. We're going to make you. We're going to torture you. We're going to steal from you until you show us this thing." It's very disturbing. But wear your inside out penis Gabriel stuff. But I have enough. It's not a matter of taste. It's a matter of absolute certainty that it's unfit to be seen. But they rubbed my face in this when I was a child and said horrible things, you know. But the way that they went about this, according to Mel, was to say that they were setting up a countersuit to a script they wrote, blaming me for something I knew nothing about. And the countersuit is to do to me what they did to all these other people, right? And what they did in poisoning my mouth was argue that it was to forestall against the day that they took the ultimate action. And they did all these other terribly humiliating things like murdered Cersei Kennedy. I mean, apparently the Kennedys have learned their lesson. They've clammed up about all this. And they have, key people working media to make sure that the message about climate change only barely gets out, so that you have to work your tail off to get even that much out about what they've done. The flame over Africa crowd. And of course that means they hot wire around the past. But in giving me this blessing in disguise of poisoning me in the mouth, of course, they set the stage for COVID-19. So Seattle um, catastrophic hate individuals who think they're love. I mean, when somebody comes and tells you love is hate or they love hate, be sure they're trying to confuse you. Because if you can't see that, you're putty in their hands. But when these people, worked me to to death and homelessness, torturing me, saying it was tough love, blessing in disguise, making me a man, all this stuff. They were covering for the fact that they still planned COVID-19. So you're supposed to believe that the people who were avenging the first attack set up the second attack to prove that they would never do that. I mean, that's what you're supposed to believe. They did that to prove they would never do that. That's what Ming-Na Wen's computer system was spouting after 911 and stuff. They did that to prove they would never do that. You're supposed to believe that. You know, they poisoned me mouth to prove that they would never release COVID, which they then did. They, launched the first attack and poisoned me in the mouth as a blessing in disguise about the first attack to set up the second attack to prove they would never do that. This is, and this overly cerebral ingenuity is supposed to be um, blessed as some sort of Mysterion Swami Nosra because it comes from Yoko Ono and her friends who are laughing through the whole thing. And they simplified the text of idealism by reducing the numbers of people. It's like a blessing in disguise. It'll be easier for you to be slaves to your idealism while we laugh at you. No, I thought that's what you wanted, sort. Now, what seems to me appropriate to one is educational reform. We want ecology in schools, green schools. I mean, that's reasonable. Making a record of what really happened against the day that maybe we can apprehend some of the people responsible and put them on trial for the crimes that they've committed. This sort of thing, crime of ecocide, the crime of genocide, the whole situation is in pieces. You have to imagine the tears of the people who are caught up in it, who can't do anything, who don't dare say anything, if there are any such people. I don't know. I mean, I am obviously somebody who feels that way. So what I'm saying is this is nickel and dime salvage. It's all that I have to offer. But when they humiliated me, they came in with this special argument wheel, the spin. Everything is equity. Everything is equity. Never question that you are in the wrong if you don't guess an anonymous person may or may not be man or woman by the tone of their voice. Because Biden has special service operators in Blackwater, clandestine fields of military intelligence who are transvestite, and they will get on you, and you will be punished. I mean, I was uh, gender neutralized as part of this ongoing form of hostility against the Commonwealth's right to know, uh, um, to think properly, to even investigate and look into it, to even understand what has happened. That's off limits. So they gender neutralized me about that. And they made a big out of mercy they were never going to allow me to have children. Well, it's not very merciful. They're the ones. What the successive degradations of the X motive, subjecting the persona to successive degradation of the X motive. They were not the ones paying for, sponsoring, and organizing through drama school the abortions that they then pinned the tail on the donkey about. Right? I mean, it's in the text. They set it up. They wanted it to go that way. They made sure there was no escape from it. They executed it. They pulled it off. They bragged about it, and then they pinned the tail on the donkey and said it was not my doing. None of it was my doing. I had nothing to do with any of it. I was surrounded by murderers and stolen cars for even trying to go to school as a little boy in Pittsburgh. You can't find one so-called friend who gives anything about it, doesn't care anything about it. None of them care a thing about it. None of them. Not one of them.